2024 was the third and final year of my Toyota Coaster bus conversion. This is what the bus looked like at the start of 2024. The build was pretty much mostly done, and all of the big components of the electrical system like solar panels, batteries and inverter were all in place. My first big job for the year was to install an air conditioner. I hadn't originally planned to do this, but after suffering through yet another unbearable Queensland summer, I decided that Pepper and I were definitely going to need an air conditioner in the bus. In order to fit the air conditioner in, I had to temporarily remove the bed so I could access the space and cut some pretty big holes in the floor. Even after all this time, I still find cutting holes in the bus quite nerve-wracking. I ran the ducting for the air conditioner underneath the bed and inside the cabinets on either side. I then rebuilt the bed with heaps of storage space for all my studio tools and materials. My second big job for the year was to install a diesel heater. This required yet another hole to be cut in the floor of the bus. Installing the diesel heater was one of the more challenging parts of my bus conversion, but hopefully I did it all correctly and will be toasty warm when the winter comes this year. It was then time to finish off the build. I added some doors to enclose the storage space under my bed, as well as the area underneath Pepper's bed in the front driver's cab. I added a little cabinet at the back of the bus above the washing machine to store some clothing, and I also made a pull-out storage tub to hide my dirty laundry, which could easily be removed when I wanted to access the washing machine. I needed to have as much storage space as possible to fit in all my studio gear, so I built another little cabinet over the battery hatch under the table at the front of the bus. And I even managed to squeeze in my full-size digital piano. Then it was finally time to start putting the finishing touches on the build. I filled in all the screw holes and gaps in the cabinetry, gave everything a really good sand, and got ready to start painting the inside. I used Dulux Precision to do 2 coats of undercoat and finished off with 2 coats of Dulux Wash and Wear in quarter strength Spanish cream. The inside of the bus went from looking like this to this. I was so happy with the way the painting turned out. It really helps to freshen up the space, make everything seem brighter, as well as highlight the beauty of the natural timber. After the painting was done, I started to finish off the electrical work in the bus. I installed LED strip lights underneath the overhead cabinets on both sides of the bus. I connected dimmer switches to these lights, so they can either function as soft mood lighting when I want just a little bit of light in the bus, but they're equally great at providing lots of light over the workspace when I need to get things done. And I love the way they turned out. Next job was to install a couple of Sirocco fans. This was probably one of the easiest installs in the whole bus conversion, and they work really well. I put one in the main living space so I could point it towards my bed or the kitchen dining area, and I installed a second one in the driver's cab area for my dog Pepper. Next, I turned my attention to the sections of the original bus frame that were still visible. I filled in all of the tiny holes in the frame using some Sikaflex and painted the frame with a couple of coats of Rust Guard epoxy enamel. and then finished off around the inside of the windows with some new trim. I used natural jute twine to cover up the gaps between the walls and the ceiling. As well as more traditional timber mouldings to finish off the doorways and other edges in the wall cladding. I used all my offcuts and scrap pieces of the wall cladding to hide the gaps at the very back of the bus around the rear door. And I even replaced the ugly grey panel on the rear door with one that better matched my decor. I found an old antique mirror that was the perfect size and colour to use as the door on my bathroom vanity. I put up lots of useful hooks for hanging stuff. Installed a reading light above my bed. And added a couple of towel rails in the kitchen and the bathroom. And the very last thing I did was to make some simple rustic curtains for the living area of the bus. And then finally, in October 2024, it was done. In 3.5 years, I had managed to turn an old school bus into my very own tiny home on wheels. This is by far the biggest, most challenging, but also the most rewarding thing I have ever done, and I couldn't be more proud of how it's turned out. I can't wait for Pepper and I to start travelling in our new bus home and to see where the next stage of our journey takes us.